Once upon a time, in a town not so far away, there lived a boy named Omar. Omar was known throughout the neighborhood for his bad behavior. He would tease other kids, throw stones at animals, disobey his parents, and even lie to them. The poor boy seemed to have no one to guide him. One day, while Omar was playing by the river near his home, he noticed a young man sitting on a nearby stone. The young man appeared to be sad. Curious, Omar walked up to him and asked, "Hello, are you okay?" The young man looked up, startled by Omar's sudden appearance. "Oh, yes," he replied, composing himself. "I'm fine." Seeing that the young man was trying to hide his sadness, Omar didn't push him and instead sat down beside him. After a while, Omar gathered the courage to ask, "Why do you seem so sad?" The young man sighed and responded, "I've lost my way and don't know how to get back home. I also have an important task to complete, but now I'm too late." Omar felt sympathy for the young man and wanted to help. He stood up, pointed towards the town, and said, "I live in that direction. Let's go together. Maybe we can find your way from there." As they walked, Omar noticed the young man had an exquisite staff made of pure gold. It was decorated with precious gems that glittered in the sunlight. Intrigued, Omar couldn't resist asking, "Whose staff is this? It looks beautiful." The young man smiled and replied, "This is no ordinary staff. It belongs to a king, and I am the king's son." When they reached the town, Omar turned to the prince and asked, "Now which street do you live on? I'll show you." The prince thought for a moment, then shook his head apologetically. "Unfortunately, I can't remember. That's why I need your help." He handed his golden staff to Omar, saying, "Please hold this for me. I want to think for a bit." Omar took the staff, surprised by its weight and value. He couldn't believe the king's son would trust him with such a valuable item. But suddenly, Omar remembered seeing a similar staff in the house of a wealthy merchant. An idea sparked in his mind. If he could return the staff to the prince, he might earn a reward. So, without thinking further, he started running towards the merchant's house. The prince, noticing Omar's departure, called out, "Hey, where are you going?" But Omar kept running. Soon he reached the merchant's house and knocked on the door. When the merchant opened it, he saw the golden staff in Omar's hand. "Wow, where did you get that?" he exclaimed. Realizing what had happened, Omar quickly lied, saying he found the staff on the street. "Since you found it, I assume it must be very heavy. Why don't you come inside and rest for a bit?" Omar agreed and entered the house. Meanwhile, the prince arrived at the same merchant's house. Seeing Omar inside, he rushed to grab his staff. But when the merchant noticed the prince's clothes, which were dusty and torn, he shouted, "What are you doing here? How did you even find this staff?" The prince explained everything to the merchant and showed him his injured arm. The merchant immediately understood the truth and apologized for his harsh words. "I am very sorry, Your Highness. I mistreated you. Please forgive me." The prince waved his hand, indicating he bore no grudges. Then he turned to Omar and demanded, "Give me back my staff." But Omar refused and said, "No, you must give me some money first for helping you." The prince was shocked by Omar's greed. "Helping me? You stole my staff. How can I ever repay you?" Omar continued to argue, claiming the staff was too heavy for him, and he needed money to buy food. Seeing the argument escalating, The merchant intervened and proposed a compromise. He offered Omar bread and water, which the boy accepted. After calming down a bit, the merchant asked the prince, "Why don't we give this staff to Omar and see if he returns it?" The prince liked the idea. "Yes, let's do that." They handed the staff to Omar, who happily took it, admiring the intricate details once again. Then the merchant told Omar, "We are leaving now, but you must bring the staff back before sunset or else we will take it away." Omar nodded obediently, watching them leave. At first, he considered returning the staff to keep the peace, but then the thought of keeping such a valuable item crossed his mind. Greed began to grow within him. Omar took the staff outside and hid it behind a bush. Next, he went home without telling anyone about the stuff. His mother, noticing he was carrying a bag, asked, "Did you steal something again, Omar?" Startled, Omar dropped the bag and ran away. At sunset, the prince, along with the merchant, returned to Omar's house. They knocked on the door, but no one answered. So the prince checked behind the bush where he had hidden the staff earlier. To his relief, it was still there. As the sun set, the merchant suggested, "Let's wait a bit more. Maybe someone from the family will come out soon." But the prince wanted to go home. He didn't want to wait any longer. Suddenly, Omar's father came out of the house. He was a burly man with a stern face. When he saw the prince, he asked, "Can I help you?" The prince explained that his staff had been found here and they wanted to check if it belonged to anyone in the family. "You found this staff here?" "Well, that's strange. My son Omar was playing here earlier today. Maybe he took it." The father's tone was serious. "I'm sorry, but we must return it to the rightful owner." He turned to Omar's mother and said, "Where is Omar?" "It's time to come home. He left earlier. He probably went to the river to fish again. That naughty boy always causes trouble." The prince looked at the woman with pity. "Your son has done a bad thing by stealing my staff, but it doesn't make you any less of a parent. I hope he learns from his mistakes and becomes a good boy." Then the prince and the merchant left to return home. Meanwhile, Omar was walking towards his house, unaware of what had happened. On the way, he passed by a fig tree. Its branches were laden with ripe figs, and the sight made his mouth water. But the tree belonged to a grumpy old man who guarded it fiercely. Omar hesitated, knowing he might be chased away, but his desire for figs overpowered his fear. He started picking the figs without asking for permission. Suddenly, the old man yelled, "Hey, what are you doing? Stop picking my figs right now!" Terrified, Omar dropped the figs and ran away. He kept running until he reached home. That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, Omar's conscience began to bother him. He couldn't sleep and kept tossing and turning in bed, thinking about the greedy and bad things he had done during the day. Omar felt terrible. Regret filled his heart. In the morning, Omar's father called him aside and said, "Son, last night you were tossing and turning in your sleep. Is everything all right?" Omar shook his head, unable to speak. His father placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Whatever problems you face, always remember to behave well. Being good is the most important thing in life." Omar nodded, understanding his father's words. From that day on, Omar became a changed boy. He stopped teasing others, being disobedient, and most importantly, telling lies. Instead, he started greeting people with a smile, helping his parents at home, and being kind to animals. All the townspeople noticed the transformation in Omar and praised his parents for raising such a wonderful child. As for the prince, he grew up to become a wise and just ruler, always remembering the valuable lesson he learned from a simple boy named Omar.